This episode of Bear With Me is produced by CENTCOM Entertainment.
What's up? Thanks for bearing with me. I am Herb Howard. The Chicago Bears are fortunate to be 1-1 as they head into their Week 3 matchup Monday night on the road against the Washington Redskins. In this pregame video, I'm going to talk about 3 key players to watch on both sides of the ball for the Bears offense. I'm also going to share my 3 bold predictions for things that I would like to see happen in the game, and I'll offer my prediction for what the final score will be. But before we get into those things, let's first take a good look at where the Bears are right now. Obviously, the talk of the team is how inept the offense has been through their first 2 games. They simply have not performed well. 22 possessions, 1 touchdown, only 7 plays of 15 yards or more. They simply are not finding ways to come up with those chunk explosive plays to get the ball down the field. Mitch Trubisky is only 6 of 29 on passes that traveled more than 10 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. 6 of 29. So we aren't finding ways to be able to stretch the field, and that is allowing defenses to come down and focus on stopping the running game. And we have not been able to sustain drives. We've only converted 23% of our third downs. Again, not being able to sustain drives, not being able to keep the ball for long periods of time. And ultimately, that is one of the things that's going to lead to the detriment of our defense. We know that they're a dominant group. They've been playing excellent so far, and we certainly expect that to continue. But the only thing that can kind of slow them down a little bit is if they're just on the field for far too long. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you're on the field for far too long, eventually you'll wear down. We saw them give up 11 points in the fourth quarter last week because they were fatigued. Now, obviously, playing in the mile high altitude, that plays a factor in it. But so does the fact that the Bears only ran 56 plays compared to the Broncos' 76 plays. That's 20 more plays that the defense is on the field not getting a chance to rest and catch their breath. The offense is going to have to find ways to sustain their drives. Right now, they're 29th in the league in yards, 30th in the league in scoring. That's simply not good enough. We aren't finding ways to have to convert on third downs. We told you we're only 23% conversion rate on third down, and that is leading to the Bears only averaging 23 yards per possession. That's like 2 first downs, and then the drive is over. Got to punt it right back. That's not enough time for your defense to rest, to gather its breath and get ready to come back on the field. So the offense is going to have to do a better job at finding ways to maintain ball control and keep their defense off the field. I think the 2 ways to do that is to ensure that Tarik Cohen and David Montgomery each get 15 touches at least every single game. Some combination of runs and passes. David Montgomery and Tarik Cohen have to be able to get the ball 15 times each game. We talked about that in the previous video where we said that that's going to be 30 of your touches, and then Mitch Trubisky can throw up to 30 passes, no more than that, and that's about 60 plays, and then you have 10 plays left in there for your gadgets, your end arounds, your handoffs to Cordero Patterson, or getting the ball on some jet sweeps or whatever to Taylor Gabriel, and also scrambles for Mitch and read options as well. So about 30 touches for Tarik Cohen and Montgomery, 30 passes for Mitch, 10 gadget plays. That's about where the Bears need to be for their 65 to 70 plays a game. I think that will allow them or give them the best opportunity to sustain their drives, maintain ball control, and ultimately win the time of possession battle, which we have not been able to do so far this year. They're going to have to be able to do that because they need to be able to help this offense. Everything is about what can you do? To help this defense. Everything is about what can you do to help the defense play at its optimum level. We know that they are our strongest unit, so we have to do everything else around them to make sure that they have every opportunity to play up to their fullest potential. Right now, we know they're playing well, right? We know they're in the top 5 in scoring, defense, and yards given up. They're playing lights out, but we want them to get those turnovers that we saw last year. They had 36 turnovers last year. Don't necessarily expect them to have that this year, but they had 3 or more turnovers in at least 8 games last year. And so you want to see that trend continue. One of the ways to do that is to make sure that they're always coming on the field fresh and they aren't spending too much time out there when they do. The other issue that you have to worry about when they're on the field so long is injuries. Last year, the Bears were one of the healthiest teams in the National Football League, and you certainly want that trend to continue because if the defense is healthy, they are certainly going to play dominant football throughout the season. And so you want to make sure they aren't on the field to putting them more at risk for injury. We saw Eddie Jackson pop up on the injury report this week. He's dealing with a knee injury as well as a shoulder. He is expected to play on Monday night. But again, the longer they're out there, the more at risk they are to injuries. We know Bilal Nichols broke his hand in the Denver Broncos game. He is going to be out for this upcoming game, and so that shifts the defensive line rotation a little bit. That's another guy that's coming out, so you don't have as many fresh bodies to rotate in. Nick Williams is more than capable of filling in on a temporary basis. He did have a sack against the Denver Broncos. We know how well Roy Robertson Harris is playing, and Akeem Hicks and Eddie Goldman are Akeem Hicks and Eddie Goldman. But you don't want those guys to get tired out there, right? You want to be able to keep that rotation going. And so the more times you have to worry about injuries and things like that, then you have to start worrying about who's going to be filling in and what that rotation is going to look like in terms of keeping guys fresh. So again, the offense has to do its part to support the defense and make sure that that defense is able to stay fresh so that they can come in and play fast and force the turnovers that we've become accustomed to from this defense. That's going to allow them to not only take the ball away, but this defense is a defense that likes to take the ball away and then go and score with it. So if they can do that, then that's more points on the board. That's less the offense has to do, but it also is going to give the offense a lot of opportunities to have a short field. If we can turn the ball over at the 40-yard line, 50-yard line, it's a much shorter field for the offense to go down. Should at least ensure that we can get 3 points out of that drive, and that's something that the offense really, really needs to help sustain itself. So it all kind of works together. The offense needs to help the defense help the offense. And I think that going into this Washington game is a good opportunity for the Bears to do that. This Washington defense, they simply have not played very well. They've given up 30 points in each of their first 2 games, once against the Philadelphia Eagles, once against the Dallas Cowboys. They're at the bottom of the league in nearly all of the statistics. They haven't been able to stop the run. They haven't been able to stop the pass. They're giving up 455 yards a game, 32 points a game. This is a defense that the Bears offense has to come in and take advantage of. If we can't get on track against this defense, I don't know when we're going to get on track, because next week we got to go up against Mike Zimmer and that Minnesota Vikings defense. So the Bears need to figure out what is the problem and be able to solve those issues this week out in Washington. I think that the Redskins are a cure for what ails this offense. I expect the Bears to play well, but they certainly have to go out there and put that on tape. With that being said, 3 players that I want to keep an eye on offense all day long. One is Tarik Cohen. Tarik Cohen, we have to find ways to get the ball in his hands. He is too dynamic of a playmaker with the ball in his hands. You get it to him out the backfield, you throw it to him, whatever you need to do, make sure that man touches the ball at least 15 times a game, because he is a threat to take it the distance every single time he touches it. So I expect Tarik Cohen to touch the ball early and often against the Redskins. Another player is David Montgomery. Again, 15 touches at least for him. He seems like he's going to be one of those bell cow workhorse running backs that gets better, that gets stronger as the game goes along. He's able to get into that rhythm. He starts to, feel that contact, and he starts to break those tackles and extend plays in a way that we heard that he had the ability to do coming into the Bears as a 3rd-round pick out of Iowa State. Again, he led the nation in college last year in broken tackles. So he's a guy that we need to get the ball to, right? At least 15 times a game, along with Tarik Cohen. The other guy that I'm looking forward to seeing play Monday night is Trey Burton. The tight end is coming back. He's kind of working his way back into the system. He's coming off an injury. He came off off-season surgery, and then he had a couple of nagging injuries that didn't quite allow him to fully participate in the off-season program and throughout training camp. He missed week 1. He came back on a limited basis in week 2 in Denver. He should be ready to go this week in Washington, and if he can be a factor in the game, that'll really help Mr. Trubisky. Having that tight end in the middle of the field, having that guy that can create mismatches against linebackers or safeties is a really key component to this Matt Nagy offense. We see what Travis Kelce is able to do in the similar offense out in Kansas City, as well as Zach Ertz doing the same thing down in Philly. The Bears need Trey Burton to be that type of player, and if he's healthy, we know that he's certainly capable of putting up those types of numbers. He had 6 touchdowns for the Bears last year. Getting Trey Burton going will be a key factor in this offense kind of riding the ship, getting itself on track. So those are the 3 players that I'm looking forward to watching on offense this week: Tarik Cohen, David Montgomery, and Trey Burton. Flip it to the other side of the ball, and the 3 players that I'm most excited to see on defense are Akeem Hicks, for one. Akeem Hicks has played well. Of course he's played well. He is one of the best defensive linemen in the National Football League. We know that. We understand that. He is a huge huge man, extremely powerful, but also very quick, can get penetration up the middle. He can beat you. You simply can't block him one-on-one. You block him one-on-one, he's probably going to beat your offensive lineman and end up in your backfield. And so he's constantly demanding a double team. He has 1 sack this year, but he hasn't flashed as much as you would like to see Akeem Hicks flash. Now, a lot of that comes along with his reputation. Again, he's going to get double teamed more often than not, but you want to see Akeem Hicks kind of flash and make some of those plays, perhaps get one of those sack fumbles or force a fumble from a running back coming through the hole. So I expect Akeem Hicks to make a couple of more splash plays this Monday night out in Washington. I'm also going to be having my eye very closely fixed upon Roquan Smith, and that's really just something that you should do every play anyway. He is a really, really dynamic football player. He flies all around the field. He plays with great speed and instincts. He diagnoses what is about to happen, then he uses his speed and explosiveness to get there in a heartbeat, and when he arrives with violence. He hits very, very hard. He's very explosive. He goes through the ball carrier. Roquan Smith is a guy that I expect to make plays all over the field, but I'm also looking for him to kind of get his hands on the football a little bit in pass coverage. He's had a couple of opportunities this season where he's narrowly missed an interception or a fumble recovery, and I expect him to be, just a little half second faster, a little bit more instinctive in getting his hands on those footballs. I expect that he will have at least one turnover this Monday night. I expect Roquan Smith to play really, really well. The other guy I'll be watching is Prince Amukamara, the corner opposite Kyle Fuller. Prince Amukamara had a really good offseason, had a really good season last year, and for some reason I think he's going to play really well Monday night. I expect him to get his hands on a ball as well and have his first interception of the season. So those will be the 3 players that I'll be watching: Akeem Hicks, Roquan Smith, and Prince Amukamara on defense. My 3 bold predictions for this game: 1, I believe that Mr. Trubisky will throw for 3 touchdown passes this game. Obviously, he hasn't thrown for any so far this season. The Bears only have 1 touchdown in 22 possessions, and that was on a 1-yard run by David Montgomery, in which he was able to barely extend the ball over the goal line for the touchdown. But I expect Mr. Trubisky to have his first 3 touchdown passes tomorrow night in Landover, Maryland, against the Washington Redskins. I think he'll play well. I think that the entire offense will play well. It will start up front with that offensive line. The Redskins, they don't have any really big threats in terms of pass rushers, and so the Bears will be able to open up the offense a little bit more, something they were not able to do out in Denver because they were trying to neutralize the talents of Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. The Redskins don't have any players that are comparable to those 2 guys, and so the offensive line should be able to play really well. And again, if we can get that running game going, that should also open up things in the passing game as well. So the offensive line will play well. I think the receivers will play well. Anthony Miller, Trey Burton getting healthier and healthier. I think that's going to help the offense. I expect Mitch to play well. 3 touchdown passes Monday night for Mitch Trubisky. The other thing that I expect the defense to have at least 2 turnovers. I want to say 3, but I'm just going to go ahead and say 2 right now. 2 turnovers for the defense. Maybe it's a sack fumble from Khalil Mack. Maybe it's an interception from Eddie Jackson. I do think that Prince Amukamara is going to get his hands on the football, and I would like to see Roquan Smith get his hands on the football as well. So 2 turnovers for the defense tomorrow night. And the last bold prediction that I have is that the Bears are going to take a kick back for a touchdown. I don't know if it's going to be a kickoff return by Cordero Patterson or if it's going to be a punt by Tariq Cohen, but at some point I expect the Bears to return a kick for a touchdown in tomorrow's game. Obviously, I'm looking for a really big game from the Bears. I think that Mr. Trubisky will have 3 touchdowns. We'll have 2 turnovers from the defense, and we're going to get a special teams touchdown. Should be a great night for the Bears out in Landover, Washington, as they catch a bad Redskins team that just hasn't been able to put it together quite yet. The Bears should be able to right their ship, get this thing on the track, and be ready to go for another division test next week when the Minnesota Vikings come to Soldier Field. So those are my 3 bold predictions. My prediction for the game? Let's say Bears 31-3. Bears 31-3 will be the score that I predict. I expect the defense to play well. I expect the offense to play well. 31-3 is my prediction for the Bears on Monday night. Now, the Bears haven't played very well. Mr. Trubisky hasn't played very well in primetime games. Only 3-3. We talked about that on the last video as well. But I expect the Bears to put it all together and come home feeling pretty good about themselves and get this thing ready to roll. 31-3 Monday night in Washington, D.C. The Bears over the Redskins is my prediction. Thank you all so much for bearing with me. I appreciate you watching. Before we go though, I want to say thanks to everybody who's been commenting on the videos. I've really enjoyed talking back and forth with you guys. You guys have come with great questions, great comments. We're having some great dialogues back and forth. That is why I want to be able to make these videos, because I just want to talk to Bears fans. I just want to talk Bears football with you guys, and it's been really, really fun doing it. I think we may even add a show where we simply, read some of the comments and address them here on the video. I think that would be kind of fun. So maybe we can do something like that midweek. Can we do that, right?
Sure.
I have to ask my director if we can actually get that done, right? Talking about making another video. So hopefully we can get that done. And we'll have a segment about middle of the week where we'll simply just read some of the comments. So if you want your questions or comments to be read in that video, just drop a comment in the comment section of this video and maybe tag it, bear with me questions and comments or something like that, and I'll make sure we get it into the video. But again, my name is Herb Howard. This has been Bear With Me. Bears 31-3 Monday night against the Washington Redskins. Until next time, thanks for watching.